Hello, everyone. My name is Vanessa Maidu. I am Communications and Knowledge Exchange Specialist for SEBI Livestock, the Center for Supporting Evidence-Based Interventions in Livestock. Welcome to this Livestock Data Summer Session. This month, the Livestock Data for Decisions Community of Practice is hosting a series of learning events to showcase the work of our members. The LD4D Summer Sessions offer unique insights into tools, techniques, and opportunities, and a chance to connect with fellow members of the livestock data community. These one-hour sessions are aimed at researchers, project implementers, industry, and funders who work in livestock development. So to start with, I will ask our speakers to turn their videos on, Fiona and Gerard. Hello and welcome. So today we welcome Dr. Fiona Flintan of the International Livestock Research Institute, ILRI, who is one of our members, and she will be sharing her work on developing a global rangelands data platform and share the global rangelands Atlas as a start. Fiona is a senior scientist at ILRI, specializing in natural resource management and land governance, as well as tenure, participatory land use planning, pastoralism, participatory rangeland management, gender, conflict resolution, and she's currently based in Rome, working closely with IFAD. We will also have a brief presentation from Fiona's colleague, Dr. Gerard Marguerite Martin, who is a business development manager and remote sensing specialist at the Technological Business Group, GMV. So welcome to both of you.
Hi, good morning.
So the program will have Fiona give a 15-minute presentation, and then Gerard will present 10 minutes on the proposed structure of the anticipated global rangelands data platform. And then we'll go straight into breakout groups where we'll have a chance to discuss our kind of ideas on what would be useful in terms of such a global rangelands data platform. Anytime during the session, you may type questions or comments in the chat, and we'll make sure to address those at some point during the session. So with that, I will hand over to Fiona and let her get her presentation going. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Just sharing my screen here. Okay, good. So good morning, good afternoon, everybody. Yes, I'm going to talk about the proposal for a global data platform on rangelands. And then as part of that, the first step that we've taken towards that, which was developing an atlas on rangelands. So the rationale, the drive for the idea of a data platform was that we know that there are significant data gaps to do with rangelands. A lot of the figures that were being used were kind of being traced back to the 1960s and 1970s, and studies done by FAO, and then being extrapolated, tweaked, repeated, but really no kind of process of really updating these figures, verifying these figures, etc. So whilst I was doing some work for the International Land Coalition, which basically focuses on increasing security of land, we thought, well, maybe there's some way of trying to draw data together and begin trying to look at land tenure in particular in rangelands and map land tenure. This actually proved incredibly difficult, and we kind of put that on hold. But what we did see was the opportunity to combine big data sets that are already existing. So we knew that WWF, the World Wildlife Fund, had developed a map of biomes and ecozones. And we used that as a basis for mapping rangelands globally. And then we used that base map basically as a filter to bring in other data sets. So then we could say, we could look at what are protected areas in rangelands, what are key biodiversity areas in rangelands. And we started playing around with this. And particularly driven by the demand of stakeholders, UN agencies, pastures themselves, NGOs around the world, who basically supported this whole idea of the need for more data on rangelands, which they wanted to use for different purposes. I love the quote from Paola Agostini here, saying that the thing that she feels is so important, and she will say three things: data, data, data. So this led to the idea of developing a proposal for a global rangelands data platform. And we submitted that to the CGIAR Big Data facility. And we got 100,000 last October to start the development of this global data platform. And you'll hear from Gerard a bit later about how far we've actually got with the development of that data platform. But at the same time, we'd already started collecting those maps. So we, with IUCN, the World Wildlife Fund, UNEP, and others, we agreed that whilst we're developing this data platform, looking at what's already existing out there and what kind of platform would be most useful, we could also start sharing those maps that we'd started producing. And we agreed that it would be useful to do that as a Rangelands Atlas. So this is what I'm going to show you. I'll put a few. So earlier this year, after updating some of the maps, after adding in some more maps, we produced a Rangelands Atlas. And basically, what we did was we updated the base map using WWF's eco-zones, eco-regions, and we did it very coarsely. I mean, we had a small group that went through WWF's biomes at a high level. So WWF basically divided up the world into 14 biomes, and we took 7 of those that we agreed reflected rangelands. Within those 7, the biomes are categorized in much more detail, but we didn't go down to that level, and that's something that we do feel we would need to do in future to provide a more detailed picture. But basically, taking those 7 biomes, which we said were areas, we agreed, were areas that were used as rangelands or had the potential to be used as rangelands around the world, and produce this base map. And basically what that allowed us to do also was to come up with some data backing up those maps or coming out of those maps, which basically allowed us to have a figure to say, broadly speaking, 54% of terrestrial area is covered by rangelands. So at least that was a starting point. This isn't, as I said, this is very broad. It needs a lot of verification at different levels, but at least it's a starting point based on some reasonably robust process of putting data together to come up with this figure. It wasn't just about filling data gaps. We saw the opportunity of this atlas. We also wanted to use it as an opportunity to raise awareness on rangelands. We've had the launch of the UN Decade of Ecosystem Restoration this year, and there's other opportunities where we presented the atlas and had discussions on rangelands and their importance. Some of the maps draw, so we bring in the land degradation neutrality indicators. We also bring in data on climate change modeling. So the maps also help us to consider some of the changes, again, in a very broad way, some of the changes taking place in rangelands. Ultimately, with the data platform and with also through this atlas, we wanted to bring up local voices as well. Of course, when we're using big data, and this is purely big data at this stage, it's very difficult to do that. What we did with the atlas was so with each map, we had a local case study, bringing experiences from the local area, and we also accompanied that with film. So eventually on the Rangelands Atlas website, we will have a series of films of local people talking about the issues relevant to each map. We only have a couple up there at the moment, but this is work in progress. And then finally, the atlas was again a way of sealing and also strengthening the global collaboration that we've seen on rangelands recently. So there's a call for an International Year of Rangelands and Pastoralists that should get approved at the UN General Assembly in September. That has really helped to bring all sorts of different organizations together to raise the profile of rangelands. The call is led by the government of Mongolia. There's the UN Decade of Ecosystem Restoration. There are game-changing solutions that are part of the UN Food Systems Summit process that focus on rangelands. And there's a WWF platform on grasslands, savannas, and shrublands. And all of this is kind of really brought together people and organizations to really strengthen collaboration on rangelands over the last couple of years. And this atlas, it was produced as a collaboration between UNEP, WWF, IUCN, ourselves, and others. And again, it helped us to strengthen that collaboration as well. So as I said, basically we had this base map that was then combined with other publicly available existing global data sets. Some of them we had to go and get permission to use, but all the data actually is available on the internet with different permission processes, etc. So for example, here's the same map that was on the front showing the different rangeland types and coming up with this figure that allowed us to say, broadly speaking, 54% of the world is covered by rangelands. And then with each, so we had 16 sets of maps covering different themes. Within that, we had the key data that accompanied or came out of the mapping process. We have a case study story from the local level, and yes, like giving all the sources or further information relevant to the case study. And very much the atlas is work in progress. It's a living document. We aim to continue adding maps to this. There will be a hard copy printed as it is at the moment, but the online copy and there is a website, which I will give you the address at the end. This will constantly be updated. And the idea is basically to try and find time to release a new map, maybe once every 2 months on a particular issue, and then do some publicity around this as well. As I said, a very important part of this was the development of the partnership as well. And there was a whole team behind producing the maps, etc. So this is the website of the atlas. What we've done is we've housed the atlas on the website that we aim to use for the Rangelands data platform. So hence the rangelandsdata.org here. So this is really the first step in the development of the proposed Rangelands data platform, which now my colleague Gerard from GMV will share with you. And this is really what's with the data platform. This is really what we'd like to hear from you as to how suitable you think our ideas are what kind of data you would like to get from such a platform, what you would use it for, etc. Because it's very important for us that we develop this Rangelands data platform in a way that's suitable for different sets of users. And you are definitely one set of users that we would anticipate using the data platform. So over to you, Gerard.
Okay, so I'm sharing the screen. Okay, so thanks, Fiona, for the introduction towards the Rangeland platform, because you provide the audience with a good overview about what is behind this technological idea behind this Rangeland platform. So what is important in this platform first is that at the best of our knowledge, there is no similar idea in terms of ambition, going globally by mapping all the rangeland continuously. So this does not mean providing a single shot, but also providing a living map about the status of rangeland in the past, as well as predictions about how rangelands are going to evolve into the short-term future, basically for providing insights for better decision planning. So it is clear that there are a lot of initiatives behind mapping rangeland, but also all of them can be complementary if they are integrated in a smart way. And this is one of the key topics that the current platform is focusing. So getting all the data sets that are available at internet, mostly free online, but also others that can be acquired through other means like Earth observation, satellite imagery, crowdsourcing, social media, whatever. So getting all the data sets, complementing the different gaps that the different data sets individually could have, and then provide a consistent map of the status of rangeland, the dynamics that rangelands are getting in the different parts of the world by taking the biomes that Fiona has commented to you. The platform per se is ambitious. So as Fiona has said, just today we have a small amount of grant to start developing the platform. So what we did in the last month was to concretize the potential design for this global rangeland monitoring. We have done some tests about the front end regarding dashboards, formats, how the data can be visualized, and also providing field insights towards this crowdsource tool, so getting data from locals. So one of the main gaps we have right now in rangeland is the lack of ground truth, as Fiona has commented. So we are getting a lot of data everywhere, but we are not convinced, or we have not quantitative parameters or metrics that are providing us with specific information about the quality of the data. And even more, when we are working with additional data sources like satellite imagery, we need this ground truth not only for tuning the models behind that analysis, but also for verifying what we are doing has physical sense, but also sense for the pastoralists that are working there. So in this ambition, we not only aim to show data, but also to collect data from locals. This is quite challenging because most of the locals are working in low-income countries with limited technological means, and also we need something that is open, friendly, and easy to use, and also that can work with mobile platforms. So all of these are requirements that are being integrated into the design, and also this is providing us a clear view about what we need. So we have three main pillars. One, collecting all the data possible from all the different data sources. This means also crowdsourcing from locals, fuse all this data in a relevant manner, not only from the physical point of view, but also from the practical point of view regarding the usefulness that pastoralists and local users can get. And the third, being open, dynamic, and also capable to scale up horizontally, so to different services, and also vertically to different areas. So main purpose, provide outputs for decision making. So at the end, the better the decisions, the better the revenues that locals and pastoralists can get from the activities. And this picture is providing you what we would like to achieve. So from this specific location, the local, the pastoralists can get information about specific actions that they rangeland area can need. So we are ambition global coverage, but also with capability to granulate locally. So getting global information to also provide ad hoc reports for specific areas in accordance to the specific conditions. It is the same map that Fiona showed you in the last in the previous presentation. This is basically to provide you the ambition of being global and also to build a collaborative platform. So in all of the regions, what we are aiming is that all the people is feeding the platform with the data, and also data that is not only single shot, but also is dynamic on time. Also, this is the different layers that we are working with. So we are working with current rangeland monitoring systems that right now are more or less with regional ambitions or with different or coming from different initiatives. But also we are integrating them with different climate indicators. So what we are getting is information about land use, land cover in rangeland, but also information about the specific climatic indicators that are allowing us generating predictions at short, mid-term about how these rangeland are going to evolve and which impact this would have for the economy of the locals. This is an example of what we are generating for a specific area. So this is what we are commenting about being global and granulate locally. In this case, this is a set of maps we did for Kyrgyzstan and Tajikistan about the degradation of rangelands in the last 20 years. So these maps has been generated by taking different parameters into account, not only climate, but also digital elevation maps, but also the impact of the altitude and how this is affecting the vegetation cycle of the different plants in these different biomes. So we can generate global and we can generate local. And also something that we have commented before about the crowdsourcing and the mobile application, important to adapt or integrate blockchain technology to secure the full path of the information transfer, so that the generator of the information is secure towards specific attacks, and vice versa. So all the information within the platform also is secure, and we have verification that the information that has been uploaded into the application is has been proven and also has very good quality. Important. We have a set of ideas about how to display the different data. So we have experience of working with dashboards, and also right now we did an intense exercise with all the cooperators and collaborators in this initiative for selecting the best way to show the different results. The idea is to be simple and plain, take profit of cartographic layers and also display maps, but also display specific statistics in terms of dashboard that can provide evidence, quantitative evidence about how rangelands are evolving. And for this, the feedback of users is very useful. And this is something that we are very happy to listen from you regarding how to finalize and tune the front-end features. As we say, right now we are running with this GGR Big Data Challenge budget for consolidating the design, the platform, as well as the front end. We have done some small implementations. We have run some tests regarding the best ways to organize the data, how to run the data catalog, how to organize the database, but we need more. So we need more financing. So we are looking for new sources of financing for evolving the platform into levels that are quite similar or quite aligned to the ambition we foresee from the very beginning. So happy to also listen from you recommendations regarding which is the best data to work with. And that's all. So here you find the coordinates of my colleague Carlos Domenech, who is the leader of this activity at GMB. Right now, Carlos is on holidays, and also I'm showing this presentation in his name, and also take note of his coordinates for whatever question you have regarding this. And with all, I'm finalizing my presentation. So thank you all.
Thank you very much, Gerard, and also to Fiona for her presentation. Perhaps I'll ask Fiona to turn her video on and give, if there's any sort of clarification questions or quick Q&A before we go into the breakout rooms. So if the participants, what I'll do is I'll give you a chance, you can actually raise your hand, you click the reactions button on the bottom toolbar of Zoom, and then I can call on you, or you can just type your question in the chat or your comment in the chat. So perhaps Jane, I see a note that she has a question. So Jane, do you want to pop your video on and ask your question?
Hi, I thought can everybody? Yes, okay, sorry. I'm looking at the wrong screen because the camera's over here. But anyway, maybe my side profile's better. Actually, it was more of a comment because I was just thinking as you were talking, both of you. There was a presentation last week by an FCDO research hub. I don't know whether you went to it, but it was about estimating livestock numbers in particularly pastoral areas. They were using South Sudan. And they were using very low resolution data to first identify where the corrals would be, and then moving to higher resolution to estimate the numbers. But I was just wondering, I can see that your remote sensing data needs to be much higher resolution, but maybe there's a way of like marrying it to help you identify priority areas to ground truth. I don't know, it was just a thought, and I didn't know whether you'd been at the presentation. I thought it might be quite interesting for you to see. Thank you. Oh, and sorry, I'm from ILRI as well with Fiona.
Thanks, Jane. Sorry, Fiona or Gerard, do you want to respond to that or have any thoughts?
I think probably
Gerard. Yeah, so basically, So basically, this is one of the potential sources that also we are evaluating. But at the end, we suspect that there are more outside, and also we need more work to verify the complete catalog we can work with. So it is clear that also we are engaged in other opportunities in cooperation also with ILRI and also others that could come at short term. And also we are going to verify at the end. So we have to admit that we know about this, but we need further work to better evaluate what we can get.
That's great. I see a thumbs up from Jane. Good. Well, perhaps now is a good time to go into the breakout groups. I think we'll have two groups. So we'll have Fiona in one group with Cara and Karen from SEBI, and we'll have Gerard and Jane in a second group with myself. So if you'll bear with me for a moment, I will set up those groups and it should just pop you right in there. And before we go, actually, I'll just paste in the chat the discussion questions, so you can all take a note of that. So let me just run in through those. So what kind of data would you be looking for from such a global rangelands data platform? For what purpose would you be using the data? What access formats would be most useful to you? And how would you like to access it? So anything around this would be really, really interesting for those of you who are able to stay for the breakout discussions. And we'll stay as long as we can in the breakout groups, and then come back and have a little chat in plenary. Do you want to add anything, Fiona, or is that good enough? Okay, so bear with me a moment. I'll get the breakout group set up. So, great. Perhaps I can just ask Fiona, do you want to, or someone from your group, to sort of share a little bit about what was discussed? Any big ideas, any interesting suggestions?
I think probably one thing was the reminder of the need that it's not just livestock, but also wildlife, that we need to be able to facilitate data collection on. But I'd invite anyone else in the group to comment on what else was discussed.
Karen or Kara or anyone else want to add to that?
We had a bit, we didn't go through the questions rigorously. We just had more of an open question and answer session, really, I would say. Interesting to see that 2 in the group had an interest in endangered birds, or was it migratory birds? So yeah, I think what Fiona said rings true, that we have to be mindful of that the maps could be used for a range of other things. And Fiona also mentioned that in adding in more data, maybe at a more local level, we have to be aware that it's open access for everyone, and it can be used for various purposes. So that we just have to be mindful of how we present the data when it is in such an open forum.
Great, thank you. Thank you very much. Perhaps, Gerard, you might want to recap on what you found to be the most interesting points from our group discussion.
Yeah, certainly. So concerns are, one of the concerns was focused to know more about the time that the potential platform could get to see the final version, or at least the first operational version releasing all the data sets. So we commented that if the funds are available in less than 1 year, a first operational setup could be ready for showing global maps in a comprehensive manner by adding the different data sets that are included in the catalog, and more that can be included. Also, the colleagues from Africa, Olawale and Mengistu, in the case of Olawale, he commented how animal tagging could be faced. This is a very challenging issue, and the platform, one of the ambitions is to basically cover this gap, because at the end, tagging animals individually is something that implies a very big effort, and the availability of a crowdsourcing feature into the platform could support a very big advantage towards that. And then Mengistu has commented the diversity of the Ethiopia landscape, but also is very challenging in this kind of studies. We were very well aware of this diversity, and also we are capturing the different landscapes that are available in the region, and also the associated dynamics. And then Geoff commented the ambition towards the timeline of the platform. So we commented that we ambition initially to provide present or pictures at present time, basically by coordinating all the data sets that we are capable to work with. And then we are going into the past, analyzing time series to analyze the trends, tune a kind of AI model to run predictions at short, midterm into the future. And more or less, this is the main topics that we discussed in the group.
Thanks very much, Gerard. Unfortunately, we're out of time, which is a shame. I think this has been a really useful discussion. perhaps it's the start of ongoing discussions with the community. With if we can bring in different people at different times, that could be something useful. So just as a recap, if you want more info, if you visit rangelandsdata.org/atlas, that's the current version of the atlas, and I've put Fiona's email there if you have any need to get in touch. This has been part of the Livestock Data Summer Sessions. We have one session left. It's tomorrow. Tags from text, an automated tool to standardize livestock terminology. If you're interested in how to organize your livestock data, register there. But if you visit the Livestock Data Summer Sessions webpage, you'll find links to all the recordings of past sessions in case you want to review them if you missed any. So it should be a nice archive of these kinds of discussions. And finally, if you'd like to stay connected with LD4D, visit livestockdata.org, sign up to the newsletter, follow us on Twitter, and email us. So I thank you all again for your attention and for your participation. And we hope to see you again really soon. All right.
Thank you very much.
Okay, a pleasure to see you. So have a nice day.
Thanks,
Thank you.
everyone.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Yes.
Bye.